Good afternoon. It's Dr. John Taylor Kent. The storm is finally here. Had to put the awning in. The wind is blowing pretty good. This is a slow-moving storm, so it's going to rain for 2 days. So we'll be talking quite a bit this weekend. As I said, the FBI is no fucking good. NFG. Non-functional gear. The more I look into it, the more I realize we've been had. That the FBI was populated with horrible people back when Barack Obama was president. At this point, I would say Christopher Wray of the FBI needs to be charged with the crimes. That fellow Elvis, it's easy to remember, Elvis Chan, whatever his last name is, that son of a bitch needs to be charged with high treason. These folks actually helped deliver the weapon from the Chinese here. And we are in a doggone biological war. They want it to go hot with nukes, and you and I are the target. Drinking the last of my milk. One of the last of my cookies. Prices are going up too much, and I'd like to take 3 or 4 inches off my waist. I do need your help. I need you to buy my Bible, and I need you to read it. But my memory is not so good. And the only reason I know I've read this Bible is because it's marked up in an underlined, dog-eared, colored ink, red ink, black ink, yellow highlight. Lorraine, off. Yeah, you're getting up there. Bad. Off. You get up again, I'm going to put you in the kennel. Down. Down. She looks at me so coy. Got that blank look. Eyes don't blink. I miss my big boy. Great Danes or something else. He might have only been a mix, but he was the perfect mix. This one, she's not a mix at all. Pure Belgian Malinois. Comes from real strong stock. Sired by the champion of Romania. So she's the real deal. She has a lot of drive. It's kind of sad because she's has trouble going slowly and being gentle. She hurt herself running out in the desert. She was running so fast and not paying attention and hit a culvert and went into it. Bonkered up her jaw, about 2 inches along here. Didn't eat too much for a couple of days. That's healing up. Still got at least an inch diameter, well, more like 2-inch diameter hole on her rear quarter, about her knee. It was bigger. She's still bleeding a little bit. Thinking about giving her steroids to help with that. Well, your FBI and your CIA are no good. Your CIA is busy killing people, killing citizens, and killing presidents. They killed the president of South Vietnam and the same colonel jackass in the army that set that assassination up. He also helped out with the Kennedy assassination. His mark was to stir up the pot so much with so much conflicting information and evidence that you can't sort it out. He shook hands with the future president, Mr. Bush, in Dealey Square just before the event. That's right, the Bushes were in on the hit. Matter of fact, Papa Bush's president signed into law that the records would be released October 17th of a particular year. That year came during your boy's Trump's presidency, and he neglected to release it, saying that if he released it, the government would collapse. It would come down. I'd just as soon see it collapse. I want to, what do they call that? A rebound, a restart? What's the World Economic Forum call it? Biden calls it Build Back Better. Look, folks, we don't have a republic. We don't have a democracy. Our votes don't count. Our news media is totally controlled. Big tech is totally controlled. And the FBI is even the one that ordered Facebook to suppress things. And they ordered Google the same. Yeah, I know, it's a private company. They can do whatever they want. Bullshit. It's part of the government. Same with these big telecom companies. They look like they're private companies. They're all part of the government. They spy on you for the government. Spy on me too. I think we can do without an FBI. I think we need to return to the state militias for several reasons. But one is that when you have the state militia handy, the sheriff doesn't have to worry about backup. He just has to appeal to the militia, convince the militia that what he's doing is noble, honorable, and proper. He's got all the backing he could ever want. That's what we need. And some of the militias were private, if you will. Most of them were state militias. Quiet. Come here. We return to the sheriff being in charge of law enforcement for the land. And if you're worried about organized crime going across state lines like they used to, quiet and getting away with it, we just have to have compacts and agreements between these sheriffs. However, I think we need to take it a step further and tell any sheriff that if they're aware of another sheriff committing a crime, they have jurisdiction to investigate other sheriffs. That way, if one sheriff knows some other sheriff has committed a crime, he can go after him. We need a little bit more checks in the system. I don't have much more to say about it. It's very disheartening to realize that Comey and Christopher Wray lied in front of Congress. Isn't that a crime? Shouldn't that be a crime? I mean, if we get set up, the FBI sets us up and claims that we lied, we get harmed. It's time the head of the FBI spends some time behind bars. And that guy Elvis needs to suffer a worse fate than that. However, I'm not advocating mob rule. I'm saying let's put it through the courts. Let Elvis defend himself. And as far as this January 6th stuff, I'll cover that later, but I really think that's all on Nancy. It's on your stupid Speaker of the House. We got a lot of serious targets in D.C. I'm just surprised that nobody's taking shots at him. I really am. There's a lot of failure to uphold the law. Maybe that's a blessing. Because as these criminals get away with things, people are going to take things into their own hands. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Don't get me wrong, I don't want to kill anybody. Don't think I want to remember that. Don't think I want to think about that. Not at all. But there is natural law. And at this point, we have obstruction of justice by our FBI and the Department of Justice. There's too much obstruction of justice going on. So I think that if a man takes something into his own hands, let's say his daughter gets groomed by one of these teachers and set up, I think we ought to give the guy a medal when he takes the other son of a bitch out, because that's what he's earned. That's what he's deserved. We got a case like that around where a father took out the guy who groomed his daughter and put her out there for prostitution. I hope he made the guy suffer a little bit. I have a feeling, though, he didn't do that well enough. They're charging him with murder. Gee, how much of a risk do you think that father is to society at large? He's already killed the one guy, the guy who groomed and pimped out his daughter. I don't think he's a danger to society. Do you think he's going to go out there and commit another murder? I think that murder was justified. I hope the jury thinks so too. As it is, the guy's life is going to be ruined in many ways. It's going to cost him so much to defend himself in the courts. And as far as the family goes of the kid that he killed, maybe they should be paying something. Yeah. I can see that people are going to be taking the law into their own hands in this nation more. Let's talk about that another time. May Yahweh bless America.